잠깐만 저장동이야. Nice hung you're doing. That's nice. So we will begin with the opening prayers on page 1 of the prayer book, and we will do once in English and once in Tibetan. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. And then on page 3, all sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching, and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Yidams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom. Namge Dada Nyambe Semje Damje Joje De Samye Deje Yekpa Tam Jeje Ango Zon Doi Yanden Dele Dan Jeje Ngowoi Jorwa Choje Bongbo Dondai Jeje Zaje Jone Nyamabe Gende
dan je je ma da jen jen sa wa dan ju ba ra je ve ba ran de la ma dan ba nam la jiao zi je wo ye dan jian guo ra je la zo nam la jiao zi je wo san je zheng de de nam la jiao zi je me chu nam la jiao zi je wo pa be gen de nam la jiao zi je wo ma wang kan de jue zhang song me cu yi jie jie jian dan den ba nam la jiao zi je wo.
Page 4. Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma, and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
Oi, Zhang Jie, Ning Bo, Ji Jie, Wa, San Jie, Nam La, Jiao Zi, Jie, Jiu Dan, Zhang Jie, San Ba, Ye, Zuo Lan, Di Jie, Jiao Zi, Jie, Jie Da, Ngo Jie, Dui Jie, Ge, Zhang Jie, Tu Ge, Ji Ba Dong, Zhang Jie, Sem Le, La Ba La, De Da, Rim Xin, Ne Ba Dar, De Jian, Do La, Ben Dong, De, Zhang Jie, Sem Le, Ge Ge Zheng, De Jian, De Ne, La Ba La, Ren Ba, Xin De, La Ba, Ge Wo.
Page 5. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
San Jie, Jiu Dan, Zuo Jie, Jiu Nam La, Zhang Jie, Ba De, Dan De, Jiao Zi Jie, Da Ge, Jian Zui, Jin Bie, Zong Nam Jie, Do La, Ben Jie, San Jie, Du Ba Xiu.
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Ma Nam Ga Dan Nyam Bie Sem Jian Tam Ji De Wa Dan De Ve Ju Dan Dem Ba Ju Je Dong Ga Dan Dong Ga Ge Ju Dan De Wa Ju Je Me be de wa dong me de wa ju je ni re ja da ni da de le da nyong la ne wa ju je.
Page 6. refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcending conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. Page 7. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field, I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I have gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate. And then we skip to page 11. Namo. To the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, inexpressible mind of the victorious ones, the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind, please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind, transcending conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya King. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth, you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise, even then I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain, the one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment. To you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, to you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you, among the three levels of existence, is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace, to that one, the one who dwelled at Shravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground basis for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone, the pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth. To the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate. And then we go back for the Tibetan pronunciation on page 9.
Namo Nonze Namda Gelama Lai Nonze Shejen Sun Chobamba Ankam Son Yondra De Sorwan De Korwa Tongdo Sui Jenje Lo Ji Jen Norva Toge Jan Masa Jumi Yarbe To Chimbe Yeshe Nada De Zebe Dani Gade Jan Andowa Jumze Rambo Je Dozimye Jan Ane Sowa
Juni
Jenonde Jenje Lo Samdone Jeme Namdande Alonde Joga Dobara Jenje Lo Jon Dende Dejen Yegba
Rajomba
Ayang Dobara Zobe Sanje Reba Dan Shazen Demba Deva Yegba Anjedan Jemba Jive Deva Kaloi Gerwa Lana Meba Lana Me Namje Domba Nyame Shai Je Boy Shaje De Jema Meba La Ngo Rade Dode Gebe Chanda Loi Kanze Kanye Zoe Jodamze Sajen De La Komba Dumora Ngane Jigen De Na Choje Song Loi Namba Gongai Chodo Suzang Ye Ye Janzo Zreje Lumbo Da Tawa Jidan Sona Lanye Wa Angombo Jonye Jelai Janza Loi Tenjo Demba Jeme Dave Je Nazarando Dawa Jelai Janza Loi Dede Jude Zaba Sonanze Nyame Jenjen Jelai Janza Loi Menjo Duwa Kaloi Junze Jen Gunjora Jenwa Junze Deje Nya Wangbo Jadai Nye Jelai Ge Nye Shoba Dalai Janza Loi Gombo tham chi jin be dong ba bo sa na yan de jiang zo yin
de jing
ye lai jiang za lo da be lo jia de we ju ge we yan zong le de yin zhe de dong dan zhou zhou wa ai xie jiu re jiu lai jiang zi lo de ne zhe wei lam yang dong la ba da la ra de ge xian ge dong ba yuan den jing he gen de la yang jiang zi lo.
And then page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmadhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas with the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense. I make offerings to the victorious ones with the finest cloths, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways. I make offerings to the victorious ones. Vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. Okay, and so then back to page 14 for the pronunciation of the Tibetan.
Sanje Sege Vuna Shubha Da Tada Chuje Yana Madhava Tamje Jawa Dage Kangwara Mo Dada Ngaba Meze Janzo Nam Yangje Yanla Janzo Dagunje Jawa Gunje Yangden Rabju Jing Dewa Shekba Tamje Dage Do Meto Tamba Tingwa Tamba Tang Sinye Namdan Chubye Donjo Tang Marme Chokdan Dubo Tamba Ye Gyawa Dada Lade Chubar Je Naza Tamba Namdan Denjo Tang Chima Burme Rira Nyamba Tang Goba Cheba Mabe Chugunje Yarwa Dada Lalian Chubar Je Chubar Kana Lame Jajewa Dada Tamche Malaya Mo Sambo Chula Debe Toda Ge Jarwa Gunla Changze Chubar Je Doja Shedan Demo Wange Ne Le Dan Adan Dijin Yeje Yang Deba Dage Jeba Jeba Dada Tamje Dage So Yai Chuje Jawa Gunda Sanje Se Ranjara Namdan Lodan Melodan Doa Gunje Sona Kanda Yang Dada Gunje Jese Da Ye Ran Kana Chuje Jedan Ramada Chanjo Ramba Sanje Majane Gombo Deda Dage Tamje Gorlo Lana Meba Gorwar Gun Yangen Dadong Gamje Deda La Roa Guna Beijing Deve Gaba Jingye Dune Shubar Yang Dage Timo Raja Zowaje Chanza Wadan Jujin Shabadang Jesu Yaran Gujin Zowaye Gewa Junze Dage Jesaba Tangje Zobe Changju Jimbo.
Page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Samje Namge Sambadang Loye Jeda Jeda War Jejon Demong Degbaye Jege Gorlo Gordu So.
Damge Duje Shoje Rezondo Shenje Medo Duje Bunjumbo Serje Lumbo Dawara Jevek Shaje Jarbe Shavla Kujanze Teme Uzra Toje Jingro De Mare Jeje Mo Jeda Tamje Sebo Kunchen Choje Anyaminde Gungdenje Kujanze Umi Doje Yenge Podon De some joke, goes on don't they be the make your law, good Jones, Gondo Jojo don't change it, no, the yellow mojo, so don't be judging your amber. Sembrando Adam Jindere, Yana Maria, Egin on the Don the Jiggy, Ronda Domi, Egin on the Endo, Gunje, the Gage, on bottom Jiggy, the Doggy, Jordan. Good evening. Good evening. 天大走，我走。听到这当ko public talk ina karina tadi. Chirang sota tsama de karsina chu nyamle mambo chi tsarwa tang nyamle kandi siyo watane ta tsama hingyo res.
So tonight is supposed to be a public talk, but as you're all mostly pretty seasoned practitioners, you all have done a lot of Dharma practice, and you all already know how to practice.
Tenda zo karsina nga zo di chu zidiyang te yore tenda ta chu chiya ke ta mambo ji yore tenda zo karsina nga zo da chu chi yunari ji kenke chaya rugu yunari jikda tenpa seya di kechenpo yinsari tenpa sido kandi jiri lawina ji ngarang kar chigido usambantawo chigirwa leka kar chigiyona tine ti chiwa di hakukore jetang tanda pena sanje kamdawo inayang jikda tenpa hijin lagu yunari yang gom lagu yunari tana yang aware pena komban dingjo kutsudu sungdowa ji kambaya ja kamba mala sapa tingri latine hakogu yores ti indu otiga naji ke ji tangbo de ngazo ji temba ke zi sine da jiong cha ne ji american ro ina ko lamga so dewo yorwa lamga la huge da go yomati ina yang 강다리양 즉 저와들라 템베제신 랍도 간디지 고고요 라비나 테네 make 통 로 안보 make 통네 테네 다 셈게 그 레가지 저기로 와 셈게 벤난다고 차샤비나다 레베나가 칼란도 소기요나라와 칼라데 소야디 고다 소기요래 고다 스칼라 소기요라와 이내양 고다 메케 통고고요다 칼라디 메케 통데와다 디냠도 락페케 레기요라와 어디 참아 오늘 게 템베지 신지리 다 고지 sabji vegetable 또 구요나 메케 디티게 vegetable 지와 든디제라 다 통톡고도 대통나다 템베제 심바리 템베제 심이나 다 직계다다 공가도다 남주 콤데야도 지대기로와 아야 지 이내양
메나가레
나도 제통 남주도 오나다 제 칼라 소야로다 딱 같이 되고 패밀리어지 여러와 이나 고지 템베제 마지나 고 칼라 소로로와 이내양 다 자자 몽보지 군냠도 메비 좀 센터에 때네 드네가 저지 bena lamga ji gan ru yu na tembe zi ma zi na lamga te ya bo tong tu gu ma wa
So even though that's the case, we never we can never receive enough advice is in terms of what is really like the most important or kind of really at the heart of Dharma practice. And so really, even though there are so many different methods of engaging in Dharma practice, ways in which we can approach one of the most important aspects of our practice, and it's not just a Dharma practice, it's also so important in our daily life, or, also in terms of, mundane activities. And this is maintaining mindfulness and awareness. And so what is mindfulness? It's really actually being conscious, being aware of what we are doing as we are doing it, whatever activity that it is, that we're there together with that activity that we're doing. We're doing it, and we know that we are doing it. We are conscious and aware of each aspect of the activity that we're doing. And so this was really emphasized by the Buddha, or during the time of the Buddha, by the Buddha. And it is said that the Buddha's mindful awareness was so deep that there was never a single moment that he was not completely and fully embodied and conscious of. So even, for instance, like in a single step, so the awareness of, all of the kind of subtle aspects of even just his foot leaving the ground and then, moving through space and then stepping on the ground again. So it is said that even, in that small motion, the Buddha was completely and fully aware. And so, when we practice this kind of mindfulness, maybe when we walk in America, for the most part, the walkways or the roads and the paths are pretty good. Dini di yang shira hako masong, dini shira niya jimba che go dunda.
maybe na tako lamkala sound marwa.
So maybe during the time of the Buddha, maybe if we weren't fully aware of our walking, the process of walking, then there was more. We could fall over.
There's no dangers,
but here, there's not dangers, and we might, maybe, we won't fall down if we're not fully aware and looking where we're going. But it is, even more so than a good practice to really be aware as you're moving through space, as you're walking. Or if you're making food, for instance. So making food and then looking at the food, using the faculty of the eyes to see what is happening, and also having your mind there with the activities of cooking while you're doing them. So your hands are moving, your eyes are seeing. For instance, as we're cutting vegetables, we, really being present with the activity of cutting vegetables. And that's something, that we're really familiar with. So it's all, it's even all the more easy to just kind of check out, when we're doing something as simple as cutting vegetables. So a really good practice is to bring mindful awareness to a really repetitive or common activity that you're really familiar with, such as cooking.
Seya dike karsana yubina tene ngazok leka karchi yo wanda woje tene tongu yo sarawa karsana ko ana chuzu je ke nala kare chi yo wa de tembe ki zi si yo na tene
chuzo chik ring tungwa.
That's example wa chuzu je ke nala wo ina
Te hansang ya rawa.
Right. In a chuzuji can nala bend over the Kisita chuzuji ma 4 day or 4 day in a degree, chuzuji in a degree. In a da timbaji yubina, Tangaran something to China, chuzuji can nala kandi chi yoate, that tongo tambone timbizi sona, da chick. 마음반다고 임베나 템베지 수요나 드네 추조제기나 가르치 임반다고 지야 그 통톡고요 그래서 빼나 차샤위나 추조제기나 빼나다 공반다고 저 빼나 20 minutes 공반다고 자위나 가서 빼나 템바야고요나 비디오 잡샤와도 지 와 위로 잡아나기 통구요로 차창 위로에는 차창 통구로 질다는 통구로 와 드닝도 오직 템베지스는 드닝 용구 요사리 있고
So
셈
the dimba la yang pingere la kyoge.
이 템베나한테 이 약으로 와
Ah.
계세 가서 다 템베지 맞이나 다 가서 람가가나 칸 통요 말에 디는 로요래 이나 맥다 통요 디나 양 aware 칸야요 말에 근데 주주수 제나 가르치 람나한테네 다 homba karmani homba javila na homba jabe kabla kare thongso kare chi so kan thoya me jon ro be me zom ro de wan ro ji cha ro wa o tin da themba sia thi ke ko chu ina ri jikte ina ri thi ki kharse go da be thi yu we na tin nga so ji thong tho ba de kharse na ko yi ta de ro wisdom tin de ten da hi yin ro ji themba mi wi na tin 템베지 생기 미위나 근데 가서 wisdom 요 말다 라임바 타니고 직 맥좀도 송원도 오지 되네 간 통소 간 통마 송원도 오지 같이 송스타 단계도 있고 깔만 이슈 혼바잖아 깔만 이슈 지라 정말 배제 지 송원도 같이 와 맞춰대고 나 톰톰도 오지 뭐 도요 말어
So if we have mindfulness, like even just like for 1 hour is actually a long time to really sustain mindfulness. But whether it's like for 1 hour or a whole day, but even if, for whatever time period that we really have strong mindful awareness, this also makes our entire experience so much clearer, and also the memory becomes much sharper. So for instance, in that hour that we were really mindful, if later on we try to remember what happened, we can remember everything perfectly. And say for instance, if we take a walk, like a walk for 20 minutes, and we're fully embodied and aware and conscious of what we're doing as we're walking, the space that we're passing through, all of that, then it becomes very clear, just like taking a video, and we'll be able to remember it that way. So like later we say, oh, somebody says, what did you see on your walk? What happened? And you can remember clearly, what you saw and what you did, what happened. On the other hand, if you're just unaware and you're walking, it's almost like walking with your eyes closed. You don't remember anything. You don't see anything. And so it's really almost just being completely kind of covered in a shroud of darkness or dullness when we lack mindful awareness in this way, when we're not aware of what we're doing as we do it. And so this is the same, whether it's with respect to Dharma activities and with respect to ordinary activities. When mindful awareness is there, there is wisdom. Without mindful awareness, there's no wisdom. There's mental darkness. It's like going through the world with your eyes closed. Even just trying to bring mindful awareness to your walk, for instance, if you're walking for 20 minutes, really bringing awareness to the present moment aspects of your walk, instead of being caught up in thoughts and just completely lost in your own sort of inner process or train of thought. If that is the experience, then again, it's really like being kind of taking a walk covered in a shroud of darkness.
어디 다 되게 가르세나 템바세야디 카르팽기요레 라위나 또 템바세야들라 다 가르세나 직 템바 빼나 자기다 가 가르치기도 선배께 직 랑게 직 템베지 시소나 되네 직 넘버 똑바디나요 그 남도티 뇽룬도 요레스 빼나처럼 혼바자야이나 혼바자야 틀라 포건도지 치디요나 혼바양 저기 요래 혼바양 자와 대가 나기께 맥들라 혼바자야 틀다 되네 셈들라요 혼바자기 오산바지 로비나 디 템바 디게 또게 다직 넘버 똑바망보 직되네 당가로 요레스 당가비 좀 센터를 때네 당기라와 나기 저런 위도 잡아 나기 배 가르치요와데 세우지 통통으로 와 다티 마인바 가르세나 템바당 희기 미비나 저런 홍바지안로 거래요. 다 드린 지가 전 참참 세나레 walking 20 minutes jogging 라네 당부 군론도 워터리 이나야 action 든 로고요. 이네 during the 20 minutes time tane jik number to pa ya te khemba jik je dam to da manda kya ne thembe ji yun mazina tene 20 minutes khani do wa ha ko mari on the way yang khang thong to gu yo marwa ti indu jik ta nga zo le ka de khari ina yang ko da themba di ke je sin lo de ta dang jik ko le ka khari chi wi yo na ti gang la de go gu yo sa des
So, what is the benefit of having mindfulness? So it really enables us to also, fully enjoy what we're doing as we're doing it. And also it has the effect, the natural effect of diminishing discursiveness or diminishing all like the conceptual activity of the mind. Because if we're really aware, then it like interrupts that stream of conceptual proliferation. So like for instance, if we're walking and we're really focused and present with our walking, then we become aware of what's happening at the sense doors, what we're seeing with our eyes, what we're hearing with our ears, what we're experiencing with the different faculties of the senses, and our mind is there together with the process of walking and seeing the space that we're walking through. And so through the power of this, the conceptual activity of the mind is interrupted. And so then the experience of moving through the world becomes like, he said before, just like taking a video. It's like that clear. It's very clear, and that due to the power of that awareness, and we can remember, for instance, what it was that happened and what it was that we saw and so forth. And so if while we're walking, say for 20 minutes, we're taking a walk, and instead we're just caught up in our conceptual processes, there's the kind of the ongoing activity of mental proliferation, then for those 20 minutes, we don't really know what happened. We don't know how long it's been. We don't know that 20 minutes went by. We don't know what's happening along the way. We don't even see. And so this isn't just the case, with walking, but with any activity that we're doing. When we bring this kind of conscious presence to what we're doing as we're doing it, then the experience is completely different.
다 tiga nang yi ta tanda nga zo tindi duwa lama tindi yore da jik bena nga zo da tanda puk na ti yorwa da rase konjo jansens da jenga rambu chila gore ina kanda kong ke te sungu duwa ina ya tangbon ro ina ya jik da jik pecha jik ya shok jik tingma jik ma lobi na tini yema ko tengen도 laugudoa yini yang kembi ko jikina korang ke jewa ngoma la yang ko sonam sa hyawa hirap be yawo yuwa reiti ina yang cho hen ni kharisena thi kap tegalang chu one page reading chiwi ke during tela tini chu tegalang 직 다 단기 꿈에 ke thong yore nga ka log yore semla nyar gi yore lunga yi somdi penna choram one page lan robina tene page require go na ko semden li kha go stan konti ba na video java na yi tene ko recording chi wa na yi de gi yo sarwa yine yang ta penna cha kha bi na thanda la ba na yi re nga so te page no the one page lobby drink la tene somno ya dang ma dang tene parjo sojo jing do ji tene ma lo this lo kon do ya this ke somno hima dang tene kesi lo ta be ji la chek ji ko go chuk ma wa ten yo ma ji sa wa oda ti ko ji yong cha ne ma zo hira ma ram ma da yo re ti na ya ko temba yo bi tembe hisem ji ge le ti ga na ko tembe ke ko khar se ko ta ta pa na ma zo ne ko ta ta sem tu gu yo na tembe기 찌 생기유나 되네 레카 가리나 바란타나 추조 지위나 되네 지 초토바 지고나레 곰바 지고나레 대평교 요래라 대가 나긴 지탱게 자기한다고 지나더니 almost a mistake 이러와 자기에서 근데 mistake 지금 말했어 어떤 나기 있더니 가르쳐는 그 템베지 싱기요로와
So there's a very famous Lama right now in Tibet. Maybe some of you have heard of him, Rase Koncho Gyatsen. Also, huh?
여쭤
Oh, Gyatso, sorry. Rase Koncho Gyatso or Chinga Rinpoche. And he says that, you know, even just like the first time of reading a single, like a text, he can remember, or maybe it's not that he says it, but it is the case, and people have seen that, you know, even in the first reading through one text, he can remember the whole thing.
yes
And so, you know, there are different causes. It could be, you know, the attributed to this. One could be, you know, because of his merit from former lives, because his wisdom is especially developed, you know, and because of, you know, who he is kind of in his capacity, which is, you know, also based on his former lives. But on the other hand, it could also largely be because he's fully present and aware during, you know, the time that he's reading the text. So if you are reading one page and you're seeing what you're reading with your eyes and you're reciting what you're reading with your speech and your mind is there together with what you're reading, so the body, speech, and mind are all connected and fully present and engaged in that process of reading, then after you have read that, then it's clear in your mind what you just read. So just like it's really just like taking a video, you know, and or recording something. It's there and it's clear and it's recorded in the mind. And so on the other hand, if we read a text, recite a text, and we're like, you know, kind distracted, we're thinking one thing and then another, and then we're interrupted and we need to do something else, and then we go back to the text and we're like, you know, completely just following our train of thought, and we're not even conscious actually of what we're actually saying or reading, let alone being able to remember what we've read after, you know, after the fact. And so on the other hand, when there's
maybe
really
after that you can read then maybe one word you don't remember, you know, so or in the text, you know, so what in text, of course you would not remember whole thing, but even though like maybe a couple of sentences or one word is don't remember because this during the, you know, you're reading the one page whatever, so too many thinking, you know, not really fully focus, you know, body, speech, mind, you know. Body means you look at the text, but still, and then it's maybe, eyes maybe look at the text, but mind is not there, you know. And then maybe you can say whatever reading, like eyes, but then this mind is not there. So then after that, yes, you don't remember. What are you saying? What do you read? The one page? Maybe you finish the one page, nothing, just that's it, just to read. If we can say, yeah, I finished the one page or 10 pages, but that's it. So what they said inside the text, so like amazing things, I think, like some Campbell's or whatever, they remember is, I think, really focused. I said body, speech, mind. So they're saying is, oh yeah, these tags, you know, volume, whatever, A or B, and then page number this, and then this, you know, second line, or this the end of the tags or something. Yeah, of course they remember, you know, memorize, but everything I said, they look like on a video, you know. Just said, okay, this page, and this, you know, behind or in front, or so one hand is just maybe they're really smart, but one hand is whatever do, that is focus, No interrupted, conceptual thoughts. So that's why they really, whatever they can do, whatever they want, they can do. But our biggest obstacle is these days, particularly, just too many things, external things,
Phone, he said. Like the phone.
Yeah, not only that, but kind of also this this kalheka borwa. Ko zambeling koralata ko be chonu do wa zambeling lang ha kogu information do ha kogu is.
Yeah, so it's really difficult these days. On the one hand, like the world has gotten so much smaller, and we know everything that's happening, or we can know everything that's happening, throughout the entire world.
That the end utine, that choji the yabo in sigro in that some obstacle no chadi.
So, like on the one hand, it's actually really great, but on the other hand, there are lots of obstacles that this can pose too.
Kasi ha kobi na yang. Ngato the positive the hiapo tong tuguyo marwa. Ngato tonguyo re, ina yang sama problem dawo, difficulty dawo, tende rang ko jik manchese negative influence dawo ji cha degi rawa.
So, but really, actually, it's hard to really just take the positive from this, because what we tend to do is instead easily fall down what is more like negative, or of negative influence. And mostly it's problematic. It's not, we're not able to really just use these things in a purely positive way.
But around was some tang bina ya da nyama semjen the log sogan rogrowa. Log sogan robe kabla karan tongre, loging tongre, rejing tongre. 다 직진한 남기 야고 요새기래 직진한 남기 독자 요새기래 다 된리지마다 휴지 통야 고야시라 요 말와 근데 몇신 받던데 로총에 들린 통색이로 와 이나 고 내추럴리 고 가서나 선바들 홀로 요래스 고 간다게 고 샘데베 내대요다 고 샘다 간다 유들 육사 요 말와다.
So when he compares, this kind of our modern experience to, say, when he was a child and he was herding sheep, so out in the mountains, totally like empty expanse in the Himalayas, and there are like mountains over here, and then like his sheep, and like maybe the weather was good, maybe the weather was bad. Every once in a while, he would see someone else herding sheep, but there just wasn't much going on, and so it was really easy for the mind to be relaxed, for the mind to become still, and really different from what we experience now. There's not so much stimulation pulling at you, from every direction.
Yeah, the kabla rawina ita nga tindi smart marwa ina yang ko jik pechan rawin bina yang sar chulo bina tene kulo sem tu guyores. Pena thambo daw samno khaya ma thangwa daw che tene sar chulo sar nga lo grawa sar nga daw lo. Tene ti jule samno daw tangani ko sar nga daw lo grawa tene lo sem tu guyores.
So chu or nga?
주강 셈토그로 칼레 담보 섬노 가야 마탕 조보 잘nga 로그로
okay.
되네 섬노 땅안에 잘nga 로그로 되네 로 셈로 그랬어.
And so he was never like the example of this other lama that he mentioned, but even in the past, when he would try to memorize texts, scripture, when he would read it, like if he read through the text maybe 10 times, he could memorize it after 10 recitations. So like the first 5 recitations would be not thinking anything else, just being fully present in the reading. And then the second 5 would be reading with kind of contemplation present. So like really reading and then also kind of thinking about, what it is that was being read. And then in that, approaching it in that way, after 10 recitations, he could generally memorize something.
D&D, okay.
When I read, I hear it in my mind. Is it better to say it out loud at the same time if you're trying to memorize?
The memorize is actually is the aloud is better. So because I say first I said 5 times, right? So 5 times is because I said always is like a Buddhism practice, body, speech, mind. So it is the 3 connected. So you can read a lot, and then it's kind of like print in the mind.
Imprint in the
Just
mind.
kind of like say like kind of. But here I think I think Westerners thinking maybe a little bit thinking, I don't know, maybe they say quietly. They said better, but it can be better. But my experience is much better than law.
It's much better.
So this
to do
kind of
it.
like a naturally calm. So because they kind of like, I said physically, you just whatever they did, like reading. So then there's, even though mentally you not memorize, but interesting, you physically
Your body, yeah, or your speech.
like memorize. So this kind of reading. So right, you guys, you think? Yeah, read a lot, but also I said this, the physically they know, even though mentally you don't know. But there I said 5 times slowly I thinking about one next each other sentences, to put together. No need to read, so. Kind of interesting, so that's also we said Dharma practice familiar, body, speech, and mind. So
It's familiarization of body, speech, and mind.
So interesting, this my brother, Ting Chok come here, right? So I said to you, he was in the really good in the Jiangling, right? So then he said, well, you don't, he said, yeah, we are like more than 10, 50 years. He never used it. He said, don't remember anything. He's this kind of like, hand movements, so how to, he said, just he thinking, of course I think before he come here, I said, yeah, I talked to him, so he said, no, I don't remember. He said, no, I totally forget. So forget. And then, so he, just below he used, so he mentally just said forget, he no idea, how to just keep, first he tried to thinking, how do this, he totally forget. But he just below applied it automatically. They physically just, there are no problems, just. So those, I think, these practice, Theravada, physically, the mentally, also body, speech,
We call it body memory, right?
Right.
Body memory. Or muscle
Right.
memory, yeah.
다 티인디 고 템바 세야데다 베케치 뭐 템바 티게 히이요나 다 가르스나 my experience 템바 티게 진짜 protection 로 차기 요로와 오늘 항상 protection 로 차기 요레스 protection 가르쳐 거잖아 지금 오늘 가르쳐 거다 가서디 지켄 디키 나라 직 상보당 년바 베나 틀리도 오지 그러 그것도 틀라도 거라베 filter air filter
Air filter?
야 텐다고 직
Filter?
차비 요리스 야 or
Air filter.
dinner
Oh,
가스나 거 가서 다 강정만주 용구여라 남도 강정만주 요다 베다 거 정 다만다 얘네야 템바 요나 다고 누자도 까대기 요리스 요 거지 야트도 강한 로트부 요리스
So for him, he says mindfulness is really like protection. Really important, like the most important thing he really feels it's like a shield or like protection. How is it like protection? Because there in this world there's such a jumble of positive and negative. And if we don't have mindful awareness, it's just like all, there's no filter. So the mindful awareness becomes like a air filter or like a strainer. So when we have like all sorts of thoughts that arise, like lots of junk, and he actually used the word junk, and and if we have mindfulness, then we can filter out the negative or the junk, and then the kind of clean can come through, the filter. We can really have more control in that way.
That reason nge khala bu yore la bina tan ji ken di na la ji nga zo la ma ga wa mando wa ji bana object control lang go ya simde lang go ya ta tin de shu ji yores ina tembe ji sina ta nga zo sam gro par jo me ji du bo yo na ko khona la wa ko khona re sha sha ya ra wa khona la ra wa chora me shimba ji ga gi me wi na ya ko 샤샤야리 제가 나기게 다 대중도와 가시게 벤나다 가서 대열의 컴퍼니도 오던 드솔라테네 가서 다 지금도 야보다나 지 추어당만 두당
Company? Company 가려면
컴퍼니도 여러다 컴퍼니도 와 뭐지스
Company like song.
야 총으로 봐 가리나 총 가리나 organization 가리나요 냐라 근데 그 종을 요리 스페마스 얘는 종 되라 근데 그 뒤종뒤 요나 당가서 템베게 제신치고로 와 간디 템베제 신이잖아 종 단다랑 가 누파 요나 tenduda kedi juice yona ne songdo kedi ngala nupa tang wancha tang top tang da cha tang ye ju to gu yona degre ju na degre wa ju na degres
okay
ro ta tendi je ki ju rang ki chi ma top je yona ta sha ya re ko ra che yo ma re ko ta tel ro ya yo ma re ko kari na ya ngarang ke lamga de khare ro ngarang lamga thi kan ro go ro wa 때마다 저랑 파기 정도라 내가 이벤트도 콘서 좀 요비나야 근데 nga 뒤자는 로나 근데 좀들 장장 좀 당디나 뒤집어 차자로 또 요 말이지 오다 뒤게 코까지는 템베기다 nga 저 가서 거단디 고지시나 때 간도 에어페어나 다 치기들이 치도 요레스
So, there are all sorts of things that if we just kind of follow our regular habits or thoughts of, attachment and aversion, so many things and people we don't like, so many things and people that we like, lots of objects that can cause us to become angry, lots of objects that can cause us to have worry or anxiety. But if there is mindfulness, then we don't need to, we don't attribute kind of the perception that we have of, say, like negative to the thing itself. We can actually filter those reactions, those thoughts. And so, for instance, if there's something or someone that we don't like or that we see as negative, we can just kind of let it be, without having to engage with that mind of dislike. And then it can actually become transformed. So for instance, whether it's another human being or even a company or an organization, if we get kind of fixated on the faults, then there's really, very often, there's not much we can do, to change a person or to change a situation or to change like a company or an organization. But so if we have, mindfulness, then we can know that like if we have the power to do something, to change or to help the situation, then we can do it. But if we don't have the power or the ability, then there isn't going to be so much benefit in getting really reinforcing our critical judgmental mind, seeing the faults and focusing on the faults, because there isn't maybe much we can do about it. So therefore, this helps us when mindfulness is present, to be more accepting and to be able to just kind of let things be as they are, and then it doesn't have to disturb our mind. On the other hand, if we're stuck on seeing the faults, being judgmental, and then we're going with that person that we're judging or that we're criticizing, and then we're just like constantly reinforcing our concepts about, what we don't like, then we become the same as that person that we're judging. We become exactly the same. And so in that way, then, if we have mindfulness, like he said, it's like an air filter. We have our air filter and we can be conscious, we can choose, what to invite into our mind and what to like leave behind.
어떻게 나기 대송도와 산지 좀 된데 되게 이나야 산지 좀 된데 그런 그 송차죠 더 이나야 다시 지고를 송도와 대나기 게 되네 에지 템바당 희긴게 거네 가르를 다시 지고를 슬라비나 되네 nga 좀 tumbo yungya hera yo mares tumbo sena yungya yo mare la yo mata jata nga zo di mejik sem na yungya yo mares semji ko marwa ko de nature wa yina ko ni zamba na yi chirang sama chi sena ko yungya ko na yo mare ko korang ke zamba je yore kimba de zamba je yore ngara zamba je yore normal wa tiga la hya go yores tila karsena disagreement use grace ko ka zamno kagare ngara zamno kagarwa tell right wrong say le lo hira yo mare yina ya kharchi gore lawina tene the keche hyo the yore ta zu ni lamga ta kare ngaran rosa te kare tigalan robina tene rank nipa te le am gores kyawatan drop to gores chuina drop to gore jiktaina drop to gore wa 계체교도 나리 가르치고로 녜랭겐 가래 와 이나 초랑게 레가 레베게 로베게 유렘라 파치 요레스로 와
Barchi?
야 파치 some disagreement complaint 담아라 유시그레스 이나티 텔라타야 요 말스트 not big deal is 기지 틀렸다나 방아버지는 다 추스기로 와. 컴플레인은 추스기로 와. 이네 양 나랑 레카 가래. 나랑 랭겐디. 텔레코랑 빼. 티강라 포커스 지 퍼ጆ데 디스크리멘 요나레 컴플레인 요나레 가리나 보다디 샤고 그랬어. 티네 다 거랑 통다 좀 누구로 와.
Like the Buddha always taught that, through, through maintaining mindfulness and awareness, one way we can also sort of contemplate, the benefit of this and how to like apply it to ourselves in our own experience, especially as we exist in the world or move about the world, with other people. Sometimes we have the expectation that like we should always all get along and be in agreement with one another. But actually there's no such thing as always being in agreement, because because everybody is so different and their minds are so different. And this is just natural. Everybody thinks differently about things. Everybody has a different perspective. We're never going to see eye to eye completely. And so like my way of thinking about something is completely different from your way of thinking about something. And so we have to kind of learn to just like let that be. What we, like, I guess we would say live and let live, right? And in English. So we're just different. Actually, there's not like an objective right and wrong. We can't really say, these people are completely right and these people are completely wrong. There's no such thing, because the perceptions and there's so much at play that is so unique and different in the minds of each individual. So what is the most important thing? The most important thing is to just control what we can control, which is our own way, our own path. So really being mindful, really being conscious of our own path, where we're headed, how is our own mind, how are we working with our own mind? And as we continue to do that without really focusing so much on others and not having so much expectation of how we want or expect others to be, then there's a real power that develops, because we're keeping our focus exactly where it should be, which is in our own conduct, our own activity, our own path going forward. And then we'll really start to see great results in our Dharma practice and also in our worldly activities too. And of course there are obstacles that arise, in our different, in different areas, like such as our work and so forth. There are disagreements that arise. There are complaints, that we confront or encounter. All sorts of things that can really easily kind of throw us off track. But if we have disagreements, if there are complaints, then, again, by just sort of not letting that affect us so much, continuing, to go forward with what we're doing without holding on to that or fixating to that too much, then we just continue, in our path forward and accomplish what it is that we need to accomplish.
어다 딘두 갈세나 데레다 가서 조 데려와 라왕 톱 시야디 라왕 탐지 엔티네 다 갈세 그래 대화래 예송래 대화 라왕왕제 요나 랑 이나 희왕 탐지 동예래 예송 희왕도 디스강에 요래 예송래 다디 노멀하고.
So like what we are doing is we're sort of like achieving independence. So it is said, in the Dharma that whatever is, so there are these two words, like rang, which we can translate in a number of ways. Most often is translated as independent. But rang means self and wang means power. So like it can also be translated as being self-empowered or, really kind of having freedom, having control over yourself, independence. And that is what like a source of happiness, or with that there comes well-being. Whenever we're under the control of others, so Shin Wang, Shin is other and Wang is power. So when we're like kind of disempowered or under the power of others, we don't have our independence, then then we suffer.
이내양다디 땅가서 nga power go do ji samne be chupa do jab tini china tiyang ko rang power ra tu yo mares.
But if we're thinking about it like, oh, I need power, so I need to like, fight those who are like, disempowering me and get my power back. So if we're looking at it like that, then that's the wrong approach.
다 가르 거스나 다 대송래 ngazo 당보티 깡바 템보지 고래 송래.
So what is it that we need? So like, first of all, we have to have a really stable building, a stable house.
말에 깡바 맞다.
Oh, kangba mare. Foot?
야 헛.
Oh, foundation. Yeah, sitting,
Foot.
standing.
다
Stable footing.
대 가르고 이래 람나 다 멋지게 저랑 항상 약보도 빼 약보도 람나 되네 저랑 빼 가나 되네 this tempo yo mar 저랑 this shaking chigo is ko kapar ko wa horsa ko pagila
And so in the
wa this kino yo is
And so in terms of this empowerment or independence, so if we, what is it that to mean like not having stable footing or being stable in your standing, is like, for instance, if somebody praises you or says nice things about you and you become really delighted by that, you've already lost some of your power. Your independence has gone to the other person.
들지가 차기라와
You are attached, you become attached to that feeling of pleasure, that delight.
이나 요 appreciate 래 이나 양 텔라 대zam지 빼 땅아 야보테 갈스는 나랑 야보인 거지 철고 그래 맞다 힘에 좋아 야보래 좋아 야보되나 not big deal 와 제치나 보고 not telling truth 이 시그리 제치는 truth인지 말아
So we can appreciate it, but really, like, what only matters is how we feel about ourselves, what we think about ourselves. Really, it doesn't matter so much what others think of us. And even if they praise us, who knows if they're really telling the truth? They might not really be telling the truth anyway. So to become really delighted by that, is kind of pointless.
데네 대가 나 있다 힘바지 저 누보도 예레샤 메레샤 라비나야 데 강하고 들 사모탄 거요 말이스
And then also, if someone really criticizes you, whatever they think about you, if they say you're really bad, like, what difference does it make? It really actually has no bearing at all on what job you're actually doing or who you are.
디인도 갈세나다 딘디지게 또는 가와 메와 미는 마게와 메와이나 다 당기 강바드 스테본으로 차디요다 수지게 근육당 토구요 말와
So somebody who really has stable footing is somebody who doesn't care, if they're praised and doesn't care if they're criticized. So, if somebody praises you, or then that doesn't necessarily delight you or bring you pleasure. If somebody criticizes you, that doesn't anger you or give you any feeling of being disappointed because you're really stable in your footing.
다 디인도 갈세나다 디인도 다 라왕 누파지 랩토구요 레스타네 라왕 세야디 다 메신베기 고히라 건축 땅 두고요 말와 갈람나 고랑한테 베 스테본으로 차라와 대차외 갈라다 라왕한테 고 쭈고요 레스 다 라왕 고 쭈잖아 다 대와통 고다 레고요 대와 레고요 와 다 힘메클라카 토야요 말다
And so in that way, then there's this is how the power of true independence develops. And you become more stable in yourself. And this is, so this is how that kind of independence or real freedom begins. And when you really have freedom, when you're really independent, then there's genuine well-being, contentment and well-being, because your happiness really doesn't depend on anything external. It doesn't depend on, the approval of others.
다 디인도 고라왕 세야데 고츠고요레 디인도 대가나 이게 다 가서 다디 제너럴와 베나 추단지게 닌자케 차와지 차디요레 데네 다 가서 추쇼랑게 섬노 땅비나양 다 대송레 다 고라탄기 콘티바나이 라왕 토비아데 간디지 토구레 송비나 데네 다 참바단 인게 장접샘 드니지 영행지 이나 드네 땅원에 라왕 토비오레스
And then it goes even further.
So
this is because this is comes is very it's relating both to Dharma practice and worldly activities. So this is like a kind of general way in which this independence or self, kind of like empowerment, independence, and freedom really works. But then, how does real independence or freedom or empowerment happen in the context of Dharma, especially, is when then you add the aspects or the qualities of love, compassion, and bodhicitta.
어떤 팀도 다 배는 가서 대치기 요래 되네. 배는 창조 심 찌고나 되네. 가서다 당보 가르스나 잠바 고고요래. 닌제 고고요래스.
So how do we develop bodhicitta? Where does bodhicitta comes from? It comes from first cultivating love or loving kindness, and secondly, cultivating compassion.
되네 다 가서 지 잠반다고 다 하고 그래. 되네 지 준비 맹아 등라서 베게 잠바 곰탕 요러와.
Yin Lagdun.
다 준비 다 이나 다 대다 참물하고 som말 이나야 다 저거 가르스나 가서 다 당보 아마네 장국으로 와 장국요레스.
And so then love, there are like the 7 branches of cause and effect in connection with the cultivation of love. But mainly we use there's the practice of, for instance, using the meditation object of one's mother to train and or develop the mind state or the qualities of love, the inner qualities of loving kindness.
다 저통 팀도로 마르히바 팀템바 팀소와라서 요레스.
And so these begin with, for instance, like recognizing your mother, really acknowledging your mother, then acknowledging or remembering her kindness, and then feeling, the feeling of wanting to repay her kindness, and so on and so forth.
이네야 다 근데 야고 디벨롭 야고 야 차차베 휴글라 드네 카르고레 슬라비나 다 가서 때 참바당 인기 참바 곰베 까블라 다 참바 곰이야데 드네 가서 찍파인 거지 다 하고 그래스.
And so then going through these different ways that we kind of cultivate or meditate on the, or develop feelings of loving kindness and compassion, then we also think, su amadangani chikpa yimpa?
So develop ya 차차로
So once they develop and you go through different stages and you reflect on the fact that all beings are actually your mother, and then when you're really regarding all beings with a mind of loving kindness and compassion, then you also really recognize the sameness of all beings, like that we all are really essentially the same. And so there's this feeling of like equality or sameness.
So what means sameness? You sharing every word food or no?
One higher, one lower.
So that it is, the sameness labdu pena yang pena chowa dan husband doji yuna. Tadi ko nasan jig rowa. Hina tini ko jig saya thonga ta khari ina machimba jig lo ta ko jig ba jig chare ta pena ngi ki peda ta ngi pung res ngi pung do re lamne jig pu himba la tena yi pe ya ti ngai ngara pu na chi ko yo marwa. Te ko korang pame ke pe ya tin do re so chong chin do lo. Yimbe yina ya kun du hie de ji yor wa sem kin du hie de ngarang pu je yo na ngarang pu te na hien pu ni pu chi ka yim ba ji. Lo.
So like for instance, if like a husband and wife are
children.
Oh, okay. So first he started with the example of spouses and then moved to children. But so like the children, for instance, if I have a child and then that child is considered, like my child, so therefore I look after that child, I give money to that child, and I don't I don't look after other people's child or give other people's children money. But so maybe these activities are the same, but the perception is that, or these activities are, different, or we continue to have this kind of regard for our own karmic responsibilities. But our perception is different in that we really regard like other children like just as much our children as our own child. And so that's something that has to be trained in. It's something that we have to actually develop. And then in addition to that, then we meditate on bodhicitta. Wait, could I? So what this requires, developing bodhicitta, is really expanding our mind to embrace the welfare and benefit in a vast way, for all beings. If we sort of stay within, just having affection or special regard for those that we are close to, like our children, our parents, our husbands or wives, our friends, and those that we kind of naturally have affection for, then it can't really develop. We have to go beyond that. We have to really spread and extend that love so that it becomes really vast, and that is how eventually then it develops into bodhicitta. And especially, we have to be able to extend that mind of love and compassion, especially to those whom we don't like, or we find it especially difficult to like. Those we even consider our enemies, those, who maybe even like are harmful to us. So just as we say in the prayer, all mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and so forth. So we have to train in that way if we really want to develop bodhicitta.
reason that ngaso tak pan dong yo wa ta den dong ya la ko sem dis yi nja ga re da ti indu ta khare slavina ta khar cha song ro wa pe na chona dan ro chik la ma ga wa ro chik la ti ne khong ro ma lang wa ji cha bi na ta khar cha ba re That freedom.
Oh, freedom. Okay.
That freedom.
So what the reason is like, so if we always practice in this way, if we, we always recite these words, and then if we really take those words to heart and we really apply them to our practice, and then if we don't, someone that we really hate or we really have difficulty with, if we don't have anger towards that person, we actually like no longer have anger towards that person, what happens? We have freedom. We become free.
Ta tangi konchuwa na yere ta karsena rawa tamchi dewa yi se je ta wang jor se rama ta rang ta nuba cha ji total fully power no ji tene chag yores
And so it's that is why they say that there's true happiness and complete freedom. When we're really free, then there is well-being, there's happiness. Independence or freedom is true bliss. Because we are fully, we have our own power. We are fully empowered because we are not under the influence or the control. Our mind is not under the control or dependent upon, the actions of others or in any way under the control of others.
다 가르치하고 요리 라비나 가르치는 대화 요리 라비나 다 배는 저런 friend 라와 close one or relatives whatever 디교처럼 약본도 노삼나 레다 고지리 도와노지 요레스로와 이나 태잠 익사딩 히라요 말이
Wait, Henry?
다 배는 저런 배는 close 와로 closer 다 nhiều 좋아지면 이나리 부위 이나리 다 디교처럼 약보 치와당 약본도 노랍나 드니 다레 그 되고 요러 왔지 보요레스 다 태잠 surprise로 요 말이스 이내야 다 장조쌤 곰댕겐지 기나 Raji kitis magawachi no batana ta enjoyment yorako ta ngabe kokabya boji rasong samtini ta more enjoyment timi jiga sares
I don't understand the comparison. They digi
comparison yorwa
kande.
ta ko chitang ke chi rangla gawo nyewo tsoke yabondo churangla tsewachi yabondo amna da tini do re digirwa 이나 고둥이 요 말와 같은다 이나 양 car surprise 오 틀리지 용색 말했어 가서나 고 휴제게 다녀오더라 고지 휴지나 차발 차기로 와 뒤요 말했어 이나다 되기로 와 이나 more surprise 가와 휴침보 간이지 요스나 뭐 마가와지 저런 너 봤다나
Okay.
되네 장접 센지스 유지 차기로 와
So, for instance, if your friends, your close ones, your relatives, your spouse, your, whoever that you're closest to, or if they say, nice things about you or to you, if they praise you, then of course,
so you whatever,
or help you, your mind delights in it or you like it, but it's not actually such a big deal. It's not like a big surprise because of course they think nice things about you because you're close. There's attachment there in that relationship.
Not going to fall in attachment.
You're not going to fall
in attachment. Too much 오 같은 지송 다야 보자 손었나? 근데 attachment가 로스기로 와.
Di jangtub samba iamba labgyube.
No. 계시 문제 그렇고야고 지기요나 다녀오제게 제와 첨보요나 되네 랑라다 뱅아가 손 제와 첨보도 삼나 되네 고 직진은 작병원으로 쓰기레스
So if, for instance, somebody is really praising you or saying, how wonderful you are, really doing a lot to help you, and then, maybe there's the possibility of falling under the power of that attachment.
Right, so basically you're okay, good, so just but you're too exciting and too much thinking about help me, then you rely on maybe possible to you fall the attachment.
Okay, but much more sort of surprising for somebody, I think, who's really practicing, is and more surprising in a good way, where there's a really positive reaction, is if somebody dislikes you and treats you badly, because then you have an opportunity. So it actually becomes exciting. It's welcomed, because now there's really a basis for practice. Okay, now I get what he's saying. So if the attachment piece, in that way, there's a regard of yeah, I mean, you're less enthusiastic about praise and, kindness because of the danger maybe that it presents and that you could fall into attachment. But more exciting is when somebody actually dislikes you and gives you an opportunity to really practice.
어다 뒤게 갈선다 단기 공티와 나기는 가서 라왕 세야지도 파워 세야지 여러와 파워도 수티버리 라위나 저 드라테이게 저런 드라지 단도 너바땅 요리 너바땅 못없네 저런 텔다 파야 참박 곰바 닝제 곰바 장조선 곰나 드네 다 저런 그 fully achieved the power chariots.
Because, and then also this really becomes a way to strengthen your independence. Because if someone is like presenting these obstacles or is harmful to you or really, kind of becoming like a source of anger or frustration, then if you're really able to practice patience in the face of that and really develop the qualities of love and compassion, then you will fully achieve independence.
Okay. So do you have some questions? So actually, Dharma practice, so really amazing. Yeah, we live in, this world, everybody. But I think different is if really the inner or some experience in Dharma practice. So then probably there's not losing the happiness, enjoy. So no matter whatever conditions, externally, but the internally is never lose. So like for instance, before we said, or somebody said, you're good, you have many friends, yeah, good, are you happy? And also there's something going on, difficulties and the problems, somebody don't like you or complain you, stay happy, Chance to, good meditation, so the love and compassion of bodhicitta. So everything, like really opportunity. Whatever these external things, whatever comes. So this, I think this never lose any peace and happy. So even though, like we said, the practitioners, yeah, may you can age or maybe sick or may die, but still they're happy. If you're sick, still happy. Or maybe you're dying, sure, of course. So still happy. So that's, I think, really we are lucky, So because we are want to happy, so now how we are achieve in happiness. So that is, I think, really opportunity. But same time, the most important part is, we have to practice routine, sincerely. Otherwise, our lot of obstacles too. So inner, like external things, I said, like we know the problems in the whole entire world, and also not only that. So that's, but how much we internal affect emotions, So those are control very difficult, So we, even though we said before, I love to my enemy, but that is not easy. So kind of really practice, and practice, and practice. Then you finally realize Then one day maybe it doesn't matter, Somebody like you or don't like you, you're just really no different. But in order to keep there or get there, yes, you have practice. Until yourself or ourself controlling your own affect emotions, So we said, I think Tibet called Tangdo Hyagdu. So you are just, your affect emotions, you can keep. You stop, you stop. You drop, you drop. You have your hand,
It's in your hands.
Right. So that's okay, So because we're born here, right? So because we have 5 senses, 5 objects, I never affect emotions, No, there's no way. I try to not get angry at all. No way. So that's just affect emotions, whatever attachment, anger, jealousy, hatred, or always coming. Because we are here, just this, we have 5 body and born in the world. But same time, so depends how strong. So we affect emotions control us, or our mind control affect emotions. That's 2 choices, right? So I said, like, we able to control, or not we.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
That's okay?
We are able to control. I think, what you're trying.
Yeah, so just own, control your affect emotions. That's okay. I said, yes, you get angry. That's also not a big deal. But you manage, why stop? No more angry, So that means your anger, not continuation. Or you're thinking, maybe there are problems. Okay. Yes, you feel something, what are the conditions, But then, no, that's all. I no more worry. So that's we can able to manage or control. So then okay. So actually this affect emotions coming, but there's actually no power. So okay.
Wait, a question?
Yeah, questions.
Yeah. Oh.
I think there are no batteries. There are batteries.
Yeah. A little bit, there's batteries here. But we can change the batteries too. But there's a question on Zoom, and then we can come over to you, yeah. So this is harking back to your discussion on memory. And someone is asking, is it more important to remember the words exactly when you're doing memorization practice, or the meaning that you gather from doing the recitation?
That's all terrible. When it's not said catchy, or said then a tone of grow, that Jatang or tone Jiboina. When it's in a say your body how cool you know, pitch a meaning clear, complete or chassigrawa. In a young tone Jibo, that little Hirai or Marwa, which is not fuzzy, you said some of those.
So actually, in this case, it's maybe more important the words, because he said, it's an dependence upon the words that we can understand the meaning. So if we really know the words well, then the meaning becomes really clear. But if we are more focused on the meaning, then we can't really maybe clearly remember the words, and so it becomes kind of fuzzy.
Ina ko take the PMC week, take the hue particular king of Dharma ina. Then ko take on a tata, Yorwa, Sanji Tina, take the pay, take the money, take the tompe or don't to Yorwa, take Yaboha Cosona.
But the words, there's like really significance, when it comes to the Dharma, there's significance in the words and the structure of the words. And so when we when we follow that accurately, then the meaning is very profound.
이는 양 다고지야 색 창마시는 다 타마디야 고 다도데 고 통로지로 통데 고지기는 고지 다 리조르로 이나 양 이나 다 간다 anyway so the take the kitchen when is
So if there, like if we have the meaning, then they don't do that.
뭐 다 take 당보 kitchen when
Yeah.
is
So the most important thing is really that the words are, in this case, the words are important, and it's through the words that we access the meaning.
okay
Rinpoche, there's a line at the end of Karchen Rinpoche Guru Yoga that I've been contemplating, and I wonder if you can comment on it. It's at the end of the dissolution stage, and it says, "Know that the Guru is the mindful intrinsic. Know that the Guru is the intrinsic condition of mindful awareness." And I wonder if you can comment on that line or explain it a little.
So the
제발 윤차
mare the yang de buye la nune ganda yo pa ha ko ma song yin yang lama se ya de rang shin jimpa dang shi shin rang shin gi chin yimba she go gare ju dang chin
레다 제단 고 데려와
if you happen to have the Tibetan. Yeah.
제발 윤차
Juncha, no.
Is that the solution you said?
In the dissolution, Shamek?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just give you the text. But this is
Oh,
towards
I
the end,
see.
so just
Oh, okay,
follow
thank
along.
you. Okay, after the mantra garland. Okay. I don't see that. At the end, the universe and beings melt into light and dissolve into the Guru. The Guru transforms into a 5-colored orb, and dissolving into my heart, our minds merge. Look at the indivisible nature of the Guru in your own mind.
And it's right on the top of the next page.
Oh, it's in the Yikchung, the small letters. Yeah.
At the
Know
end,
that the
universe
Guru
and
is the
beings melt
inherent
into light
condition
and
of
dissolve
mindful
into the
awareness. So,
Guru. The Guru transforms
Rinne
into a
Lame, here you
5-colored
go.
orb, and dissolving into my heart, our minds merge. Look at the end.
레다 대송도와 템바당 리파텔라 라메랑 히 헤바차 슬라도와
Oh, so it's essentially saying that intrinsic awareness is the nature of the Guru. That's what, if I read the Tibetan, that's what I hear.
샤티인두 가르세나 다 nga tsu rikpa seya jidowa chenpa tang rikpa seya tedang ta nga tsu karsen te nga tsu jatang jamru nang la sungu dowa jamru nang kari yor se na tangbo chi kita jamru nang lama lagu na re sanje lagu na tangbo chi lama ina re chi sanje le tengo res tamadi karse na tene rang ke chik jam ro si ki yu na re sanje na re lama de rang ke rikpa re song do wa ene rang ke rikpa de la tang ki kong tu ba na ki tembe ki chik jang yo na tene lama ya the re sanje yin ba ha ko go re es la bu sa re
Lama dang. got it.
Lama yinba, sanje yinba. Kikwa rang same.
Yeah, because so for instance, when in the context of refuge, first we have the importance of like the reliance on the outer refuge. So like the Lama, the three jewels, the external representations. We rely on the Buddha, we rely on the Dharma, we rely on the Sangha, we rely on the outer Lama in that way. But ultimately, there is the understanding that the true sources of refuge are none other than one's own mind. That is actually the true meaning of the Buddha, is one's own intrinsic awareness. And so that the kind of essence of that, or what leads to the recognition of that, essentially is mindfulness and awareness, mindful awareness. So knowing this here, also mindful awareness is knowing, that the Lama, that the Buddha, and your own mind, that the essence of that mindful awareness is the same. That's actually, the meaning of the Buddha, the meaning of the Lama.
다 단단 디 요들라고 다 대준도 텐시 라밍 오종 다 계시 당가 당기 공 준도 템바당 희기들라 다 라밍 오종 템바 희기데 계치 당기 공 휴게 라바나 이러와 템바당 희기데 베네 라밍 오고네 라마이 삼바지 비히치는 되고래 다 당기게 라고 갈라고 그러나 템바당 희기들라 다 뭐니 프로텍션 로와 차디요래 베나 단데 섬노 야고다나 라마데 가서 다 프로텍션도 라마 차디요로와 오다 디니지에 그 텐시기요나 라마양데 프로텍션야데
So it's really similar to what he was saying earlier. So like, for instance, when you say that, we should continuously maintaining mindfulness and awareness, which is the essence of the Guru, the essence of the Lama. So as he said before, how is that the case? Or no, not as he said before, how is that the case? But how is that the case? As he said before, mindfulness and awareness is really like protection. And our Lama is like, that's our refuge, is like protection. So we can have the perception of mindful awareness as being the essence. It is the essence of the Lama, the essence of the Guru, or the Guru is the essence of mindful awareness. And if you think of it in this way, that like when mindful awareness is present, you're protected, and that is the function of the Guru, like our refuge in the objects of refuge is we're seeking protection, and so that's like right there the functioning of protection as the Guru, as mindful awareness.
다 디가 나기 가서 에어 팩터로와 가서 가서 뇽 몸바 간디지로와 다 디요와텔라 다 피어파잉 랍나 되게 가서 뇽 몸바다 다 까토부여로와 딕밤게와 까토부여레 다 가서 고 딕바 이헤트 지고 계속 템바다 희긴 제시노 다 딕바 이헤 당 콘티와 나간다 텔라도 테렉스 근데 딕바 이헤 간 로토부여레스.
And so like he said, it's like the air filter, right? So we can think of it in terms of purification. We can also really, this metaphor, the air filter, is really apt, because what actually happens when mindful awareness is present is we can block the afflictive emotions. We don't have to go down that path. We can block negativities. We don't have to go down that path. And instead, what is it that then gets filtered through? It's mindful, it's the intrinsic awareness. It's the primordial wisdom of intrinsic awareness. So that mindful awareness is what can cause us to filter through, that pure essence of awareness, the primordial wisdom, and to block the junk of the afflictive emotions, negativities, and defilements.
Okay. Good. Okay. So no questions?
Chigbarebe, the Lama Chuku Yimba. Yeah, you said Dharmakaya. What was the other word you used? Intrinsically. Ni di ngowo ni di deshik ningbo gi ngowo yimba
ri
chuku
ta
gi
jetang te
ngowo
wa bena ta
yimba
lama
tini
te ya
ramre
ne
gi
te
shi
sung
tang
de
chigbarebe.
ina ta jetang to lama se labdu rang sem ti rang sem ma tho ngola lama te la ya ku som yer me wa ji che sem gu gro wa lama ti yina ya ta ti lama ku som yer me wa ji ke chi to sona te ne ti ke rang ji te rang la ya ku som te yer me wa ji te ngo tho gro wa te sung gu do wa te ne chirang so du he depending du here is chirang lama chuk izana lama chuk chirang chuk chagres chirang lama turk izana lama turk chagres lama ngoni longju do beguina longju do chirang longju do chagres yina yang chirang ni lama de tame ba ro ji izana chirang yang tame ba ma to ro to ma re so lo ti indu yina yang da ko lama de ngaso lama thatu de kuzom dangni jirang singo gro kuzom la go na re ko hil la go na re ta ti ko yerma ji wa cha di yores thatu ge
So when we don't realize directly the true nature of our own mind, then there's like this distinction between, for instance, like the three kayas. So we think of them as being like different things, different expressions, different aspects. But when we realize the true nature of our mind, we realize also the indivisibility of the three kayas, or the indivisibility of the four kayas. But when we recognize and we know that there is the indivisibility, but until there is that understanding of the indivisibility, then our kind of perception is very important. So as it says, like, if we have the perception of the guru as being the Dharmakaya, then we attain the Dharmakaya. If we have the perception of the Buddha becoming, did I say Buddha? I meant Lama. If we have the perception of the Lama as being the Nirmanakaya, we become the Nirmanakaya, or attain the Buddhahood of Nirmanakaya level. If we have the perception of him as the Sambhogakaya, we attain the Sambhogakaya. If we have the perception of them as being the Svabhavikakaya, then we attain the Svabhavikaya. Most importantly, if we have the perception of the Guru as being an ordinary kind of, regular person, an ordinary being, then we only receive we ourselves remain ordinary. We only receive the blessing of like an ordinary being. And so in that way, we should actually understand the Guru to be the embodiment of the indivisibility of the three kayas, or the embodiment of the indivisibility of the four kayas. Ti rang chukuto rang chukuto dendala yembe or nga no songi. Yeah.
okay so now dedication
So we can do the dedication prayers on page 24 of the prayer book, the bottom of the page. By the virtues collected in the three times, by myself and all beings and samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikungpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
hey thank you Yeah, good night.
It's nice to see you. Unusual. It's a treat.
Oh, you ate food?
I mean, I ate like terrible food, like, you know, like those snacks. I like when I almost fell asleep last night.
I bet you have like a sugar rush and your body just collapsed. You know what also it is, learning a little bit about this is an immune response. So actually, like, I'll send you the clip, but it's really, really interesting. It's almost like, what did she say? When you eat food like that, especially food that's high in carbs or it's got a lot of junk into it, what it's doing is your body is actually, yeah, it's like an immune response. It's sending out all these antibodies. So you actually, like, you're not getting tired. You're just like, yeah. So I was like, oh, I get tired after I eat. No, you ate junky food that your body didn't agree with, and your body's pissed off and fighting for it.
But a lot of times, so I finally with the Edwards
So tomorrow, we should do announcements. Yeah, I know, it feels kind of weird because it's just like
You know what, I need to add
we should probably like talk about like we need volunteers, we can talk about the schedule, we can talk about the changes and stuff. Yeah, we're doing a long nobody knows about it. And then Wednesday is completely off, we have soccer practice. And then I guess I can do that and then one can
President trying to, and I'd like to say that I had there's always that intention.
get some sleep.
continue to look at the environment episode, but
It's not done? Oh, the
well,
empowerment
I'm
test.
not really, you know, with Drupal, I have the luxury of not feeling like I have to translate everything ahead of time,
Oh,
which is
did you get
nice.
clarity on when it's gonna be?
I mean, no,
No, I was asking.
it's really long, so I just can't imagine that it's not gonna be both sessions, but I'll double check, I'll ask with him and I'll just text you immediately. Yeah, actually, I thought about
I
that
can
a
send
few
him a
times.
message too.
Yeah, why don't
Maybe
you
it's
do
good if I
that?
try it.
Yeah, you should try to connect.
It's done, it's broken.
What's, what?
No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
I said if
I
you
know
ignores
your
my
mind
text.
goes there, sort of, but.
What? What's that?
I know, I said I know your mind goes there at times.
Gotta use that air filter.
Gotta use that air filter.
So that's that big, metal cylinder.
And you know, I know that in that text, there was nothing like, why is he asking me this question? It was just like blank response, like, I don't know how to answer this question because this is not my center. The one about Van Rintendorje Center, you know? Yeah, there was just a like, I'm sure, because I know how he is, you know?
So this statue, and there might be another one.
Oh.
I left this in
Oh, and thanks, I saw you did another installment for the Buddha statue.
Oh, yeah.
You remembered,
Yeah.
good. There's still what, two something? I mean, one something now.
Everybody else kind of
But I left
abandoned
this over
the
there.
original pure Dharma
So did Kelly,
kingdom
left her statue.
and
Oh,
But
okay,
then
so that's
somehow it got up
yours.
here, but I feel like
Oh.
now it's weird taking it.
uphold it, so it's really.
No, take it when you're ready. It's okay, it's not weird. I mean,
I feel like now it's the center, so.
It's
well,
like
I mean, if
my,
you want to, I don't think there's any fault in your taking it. I have no idea who put it there. Maybe it was.
It might have been, just because like there were statues over there that were
Yeah.
left there to get consecrated.
Right.
And,
Yeah, exactly, taking it from.
Yeah.
I feel like that's gonna be.
Or you can go down.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right
Let's
or
get
wrong.
you set
Ask
up.
him. I'm sure he'll tell you.
So, the deal there is that I need to get it made to work.
This is so cute.
So this is a pre-prepared sandwich. I've got
How's baby?
She's doing good.
Yeah.
She was really funny today, you should hear her talking. She
Oh,
was,
really? Oh my gosh.
It's really interesting. She was, what are you doing here? Having a conversation on your phone, and we gave her a bath, she was really cute, she was being a bath.
Oh my gosh. She's so cute.
She's a cute baby.
She's becoming
Not all
a little
babies are
beanie. What's that? Not
Not
all
all
babies
babies
are
are
cute. Absolutely, they are not. Yeah.
She's sort of half grown over there, it's still kind of really cute.
Mhm.
You're talking to this baby.
Totally. Oh my
See
gosh.
if she talks back.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't that cool?
Totally trying to communicate. So little. And yes. Look, oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
it's crazy,
She's
right?
saying that's
10 weeks old, yeah, it's nuts.
Maybe she's like, I know what I'm trying to say.
Right, but
and
it's just
I
not coming
can't.
out.
It's not coming out.